Okay. Good afternoon, everybody. I'm here for the LRT to see if the motion will go or not, but I prefer not. I'm against it to start with. We have to check on Hamilton, how much it's going to cost to run the LRT. The City of Toronto has estimated that the Eglinton Crosstown LRT will require $39 million manual subsidy. The other three lines will require $61 million in subsidies. Large transit projects don't pay for themselves out of the fare box. No one knows how much taxpayers will have to kick in to keep the Hamilton LRT running. Yet councillors are expected to make a decision. On city matters, the mayor said that he thought the operating costs could be similar to those of Waterloo. Let's take a look at Waterloo. The region of Waterloo signed a DBFOM contract, which stands for building on financing, operating, maintenance contract with their P3 partner. It's the Grand Link for $1.9 billion over 30 years. The project agreement requires Grand Link to fund 22.5% of the design-build construction costs to be paid by the region over 30 years. This is one of the anchoring principles of P3 projects. The operating and maintenance contract is for 10 years and is renewable and renegotiated every 5 years. The finance costs are fixed for 30 years. So the $1.9 billion includes design, construct cost, the cost of Grand Link's financing, and other corporate costs such as audit, legal, agency rating fees, etc. The FOLMI cost, which is finance, operating, life cycle, maintenance, and insurance. The operations, life cycle, maintenance, and insurance cost reflects the base service level. The $1.9 billion does not include payouts to businesses for loss of income by the province, which it might take 5 years to do that, to build the LRT. City administrative costs, staffing, fare collection and customer care, cost of traction power, utilities, snow clearing on tracks, and bylaw enforcement. So if you look at the this page here, the 2000 operating budget, on this budget for the region of Waterloo, we will see the subtotal, the actual subtotal will be 34 million and 18. The region debt would be around the 6.52. And the total annual expenditures would be 44.33. So where is the money coming from? It has to be from property tax, which is budgeted at 35 million. If we get the right-ship revenues 9 and advertising revenue 0.25, then we end up with the budget 44.33. And the region of Waterloo is paying for the LRT subsidized by increasing property taxes by more than 11% over 8 years. So the subsidy is about 38.7 million for the first year, which it includes the operations, the maintenance, the life cycle and financing, which is the big portion of amount of the subsidy there, which is taking a lot of money there. There is the insurance. So in 30 years, we will have 36.93 million. The region debt, it's as shown, it's going to be 6.380. and the region operating, it would be 7.6. The revenue here, it shows 9.250, which is comparing to Hamilton. I think Hamilton, it will have a little bit more than 9 million. It could be about 11 or 12 million. So the subsidy required, it's going to be 38,691,629.
Ghassan, you're at your time. You would move to extend? Okay. All in favor? Carried. Go ahead.
There's that? Okay. So the region of Waterloo continues to have a blockage of 1.6 billion for infrastructure repair and replacement. The water and sewer rates are also scheduled to increase. They will increase by 40 to 60 by 2026. The new rates, it's already there. That's what's going to go up. So the additional financing costs of the P3 are huge. If we see the contracting debt, the interest, how much we are paying, and it's going to be extra interest, about 167,436,35. A P3 arrangement involves private financing, which is significantly more expensive than public borrowing. The use of private financing would cost the city of Edmonton hundreds of millions of dollars more than if it's borrowed the money directly. Based on available information from the city of Edmonton, concluded that they should not proceed with the P3 option, but build on the traditional design-build basis. I think this one, it's have been already talked by one of the speakers here, Representative. So the audit from the Ontario Auditor General, it reviews 74 projects, which she mentioned about, but according to the Auditor General, those projects have cost taxpayers in the province $8 billion more over the last 9 years than if they were managed by the public sector. So instead of those hospitals, schools, and roads totaling $28 billion, the government ended up spending $36 billion. Part of the explanation of higher costs is that the private companies pay much more for financing, about 14 times as much. So this is for the projected Hamilton LRT cost. It's going to cost us for 30 years $1.437 million. So the operations of the LRT, especially the life cycle and financing, it's a big portion of the money would be spent. Is about almost $900 million. So for the Hamilton LRT subsidy is going to be $37 million first year. In total, subsidy required would be $37,452,885 in total for the first year. If the LRT is not implemented, then it's assumed that in order to cope with the increased demand, the following changes would be made in route number 1 and in route number 10. So no changes to any other routes are necessary. These changes would increase operating costs, but fare box revenue would presumably rise by the same proportion. These changes are estimated to result in a net cost of $500,000 per year. That is only $500,000 starting in 2031. And there's the reference there. Thank you.
Thank you, Ghassan. And am I pronouncing that correctly?
Ghassan, yes.
Ghassan. Ghassan, thank you. And Councillor Partridge, followed by Mayor Eisenberger and Councillor Jackson.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And Ghassan, thank you so much for all the work that you've done. Would you please make sure that your presentation is forwarded to Madam Clerk so that we can circulate it to all councillors?
Sure will do.
You've got some excellent information in there. And are you able to go back to some of your slides? Wonderful. I'm just wanting to go back to where you actually showed the fare right there. That's good. So under revenues, you're showing $9.25 million as the revenues coming in. Is that based on the fare rate, which was $9?
Yeah, that's this. Yeah, exactly. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I just want to make sure that I'm understanding that correctly. So the fare to ride the LRT is $9?
No, we didn't say it's $9. Sorry.
Okay. Well, that's why I'm wanting to just clarify.
No, it's not $9. It's
What is the cost to ride the LRT, or the projected cost to be for Waterloo? Do you know that?
I have no idea. No,
Okay.
I didn't get into the
Okay.
how much. Yeah.
All right. Well, you've got some.
I just got the numbers from the Waterloo, information from Waterloo and their contract too.
From the contracts on the website. Yeah. Okay. Well, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Mayor Eisenberger?
Thank you, Ghassan. And so you'll make a copy of this, Madam Clerk. And I would suggest that we get a copy to our staff. I mean, I really don't want to debate it with you. There's a lot of numbers there. I think some of them are skewed, quite frankly, because you've included financing costs and all kinds of different costs that don't really have a bearing in Hamilton. But I see no value in debating it with you right here and now, but I certainly see value in sending it over to our staff, and maybe we can address that later when we have debate in terms of some of the numbers that you're throwing out here, because I think they're certainly not entirely applicable to Hamilton. But I appreciate your interest. I appreciate your interest and your passion for digging into the numbers, and certainly we have a lot of good staff that can either correct the Hamilton experience and also shed some light on the Kitchener-Waterloo experience, quite frankly, because a good chunk of what you've put forward was actually financing costs for their $300 million contribution. So I'll ask for a copy, and then we can defer that to staff later on, and we'll have a broader conversation on that.
Did you want to respond to that? Did you want to respond? He was challenging the figures.
No, I wasn't. I was asking for a copy, and I'm going to send a copy, and we'll debate it later.
I'll ask you.
I want to debate it with him.
Thanks, Madam Deputy Mayor. And Mr. Yousif, nice to meet you. Thank you. Obviously, you're an engineer and intelligent man in terms of lots of work you've done, obviously, to put facts and figures together. And I'm grateful. Can you just put up one of your last slides? I think it was your projection for Hamilton. Yes, is that the one? Is there another slide after that one, Mr. Yousif? That one there. So the Hamilton LRT subsidy is $37.4 million the first year. Is that what you, make that clear to me, please? Is that what you're projecting, Madam Deputy Mayor, through you?
Yes.
And explain that, please.
That's the projected, yes. And if we go with the life cycling and financing with the P3, that will cost us much more.
So we've so far heard I've heard so far a wide range of operating and maintenance costs that can be anywhere from, I've heard, as low as about $6-8 million based on other examples, Mr. Yousif. I've heard as much as now 30, 32, now $37 million. Is this on the O&M, the operating and maintenance, or this is the subsidy that local taxpayers would bear? Could you clarify that for me through you, Madam Deputy Mayor?
That's what I'm thinking. Like, who is going to pay the $40 million a year? It's got to be from the taxpayers. So if you add the operation and costs and maintenance and all the other life cycle financing and insurance, yeah, it's going to come to around that number. This is a projection, a Hamilton projected cost.
Okay. So as an
I'm not exactly this is the number, but I'm projecting this number.
I appreciate that. And as an Ancaster resident, then you're saying about. Obviously, you have financial concerns going forward about the LRT. Do you have an alternative? Would you suggest Hamilton look at a bus rapid transit system? Stay
Yes.
with what we have, a hybrid of both? Madam Deputy Mayor,
I would say we're going to go with the new buses, with the clean buses, and we can have more buses on the road, more frequent, and that will solve the problem actually in the core in Lower Hamilton.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you, Mr. Yousif. Much appreciated. Thanks, Madam Deputy Mayor.
Thank you. Councillor Pearson?
Thank you, Madam Deputy Mayor, and thank you, Yousif, as well. Great presentation. Certainly more information, and that's what I've been saying. I'm trying to get as much information as possible. So I just want to ask, and I appreciate actually going back to the last slide. Just you have, I'm assuming your estimate is projected revenues at 12 million.
The projected revenue for Hamilton, it would be around the 12 million, comparing to what Waterloo will have, like in the 9 million. So I thought like we will give it a little bit more for Hamilton. So 12 million. So yeah, that's what I projected.
But you realize our B line right now is approximately 5 million and change. So you're projecting at going into the future using projected numbers of...
Just comparing what in Waterloo and Hamilton, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And theirs is also projected, is correct?
Yes, it is projected.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, Councillor Green. No? Thank you. Thank you very much for oh, sorry. Councillor Ferguson.
Thank you very much, Madam Chairman. The only question I want to ask you, are you aware of the economic uplift and what that means to the residents of Ancaster? Has that been explained to you? The economic uplift of the assessed value along the King Street route and what that means to the bottom line for Ancaster taxpayers?
What it will cost the taxpayers?
No, what it would save them.
Save them.
Correct.
How are we going to save money? Usually the LRT, they are not a...
Well, let me explain to you. There's been such an assessment spike. Ancaster for 30 years is going through assessment increases significantly higher than the lower city, which means we get higher tax increases in the lower city. Because of the appeal now to downtown, for a number of reasons, Toronto's discovered us, we got the GO train, but most importantly, developers are buying property up along that route, for example, the All Saints Church, because we have an intern control bylaw that is going to allow up to 25 floors, which properties that were getting $1,000 or nothing in taxes, like All Saints Church, will go up to, if there's 25 floors, it's 6 condos per floor times $4,500. You can do the arithmetic. You're an engineer. Huge economic uplift. So in 2017, just because of the property values going up before all this development starts, Lower City, Eden Johnson's ward, had an increase of 4.4%. Us in Ancaster, we got an increase of 1.5%.
So from what I'm hearing from you, that the property assessment in next year's will be higher.
No.
Or
no, this is a 4-year phase.
The investors, they are coming to the city and buying and trying to invest in the city, so it will be more money coming to Hamilton.
Assessed values are going up exponentially more than the suburbs in the lower city right now. And that was evidenced in the 2017 budget that was approved 1 week ago. In 2017, just with property assessments going up before the spike in the redevelopment happening, we saw a net tax increase of 1.5%. The average city got 2.1. Ward 1, which is an area where properties are assessed, as is Ward 2, as is Ward 3, are in the over 4 range. And so we're finally, after 30 years, seeing the assessment shift back to the lower city. A big reason is because we're proposing to build this. I'd like you to investigate that and make sure you're comfortable.
Sure I will. Sure
because I have all the numbers to back it up.
Thank you for that.
Yeah. Because I'm your ward councillor. I represent Ancaster.
I am in Ancaster too.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. And Ghassan, Councillor Pearson, could you take the chair, please? I have a question for you, and I think you just touched on briefly reimbursement to businesses that go bankrupt or go under. Did you have a slide that referenced that?
No, I didn't say the business bankrupt. Probably I said the financing for the business in the area where it's going to be affected by the LRT.
Right.
It has to be subsidized by the city.
We are subsidizing.
And how long it's going to take? It might take 5 years. We are paying for their losses. And not only for that, I mean, we are paying for the accountant they will hire to pay them too. The city will pay them.
Through the chair, is this something that you've discovered in Waterloo, or? I
think it's I read it somewhere, but I'm not sure if it's.
Excuse me?
I'm in the chair, sir. You're out of line. I'm in the chair, sir. You're out of line. I'm sorry, but you're not. You're out of line as a speaker. Thank
Yes,
you.
she is the
I
chair.
am in the chair because Councillor Skelly is asking questions. Thank you.
Sir, if you don't want to stay here, I can take the chair back and you can leave the gallery. No, I'm serious. We're going to have a very civil debate. My question to you was, are you aware of this occurring in Waterloo?
No.
Okay, thank you. That's my question. I'll take the chair back, Councillor Green.
Okay, Councillor Green.
Yeah, just to be clear, we're not able to do that. That's bonusing. It's against the law. So just, part of, even though the mayor might not have got into it, but a lot of your assumptions, and I respect the fact that you're an engineer, but your spreadsheet is way off, my friend. So I'm looking forward to staff coming back with the real assumptions so that you could present or at least have a better understanding of how the facts are removed from the fiction, as my good councillor colleague would state. Thank you.
Okay, I will go deep into that, and I will search again for that. Thank you.
Thank you for that, Councillor.
Okay.
So can we get a copy of that printed so that our staff can go over that? I mean, this gets thrown up there as something that's real and has numbers that are attached to it that are viable, and I would argue that. And I don't want to argue with you, and I appreciate your effort. But I think it's reasonable that our staff look at that and report on that later, because it's. I don't want the impression left that this is information that we should be basing our decisions on here today. I think it's important that we correct it. So, Madam Clerk, you will make sure we get a copy printed and delivered to our staff. Thank you.
I agree.
Thank you. Thank you, Ghassan.
Thank you.
The next presenter is Tom Lazich.